Live from the backstretch at Saratoga, this is the Handicappers Report, brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Handicappers Report, coming to you live on the backstretch of Saratoga Race Course alongside Seth Merrow. I am Anthony Mormino on a glorious Sunday morning, the day after the Haskell, the day after the coaching club American Oaks. And as you thought, maybe Dornock is the leader in the clubhouse. And I think on the other side, we have crowned our 3-year-old Philly champion.
Yeah, in July, I would think it would be tough for anybody to surpass Torpedo Anna, who looked fabulous. It was going to be a chore heading into the far turn, about halfway through the far turn, not so much of a chore. And by the stretch, she looked phenomenal. That was a great performance yesterday. Very, very nice by Torpedo Anna. And, yeah, down at Monmouth, nice performance by Dornock as well, with Mind Frame, again, a little bit green, but they kind of repeated the Belmont Stakes results.
Dornock was, inside on the front. Not uncommon at Monmouth Park for that to be a successful route. So we'll see how that works out going forward. I thought Brian Hernandez aboard Torpedo Anna was very smart. I think he, correctly surmised at the hop at the start, and, he gave her a little energy to get into the mix, but then really let her settle down in the backstretch and, just get into her cadence. And I don't think he was ever worried. Matter of fact, I was surprised at how quickly and easily he got the lead. I mean,
there was a little hop at the start, and it was a brief concern, but he got her right into the mix.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know whether it was enough to, that she really had to overcome something. As you say, he got her right up there, and then,
Well, I think if she doesn't hop, she's probably on the lead.
Yeah.
But she showed a dimension where, in that field, she's just like, I can relax and settle and sit 2.5 lengths off, give you daylight, and then go get you when I want, which to me is one of the, I always like that about Kona Gold, the sprinter, the ability to go get your opponent when you want. As I was saying yesterday, she is the example of the opposite, where if you only have C-level talent, you kind of need things to go your way to be successful as an athlete. But when you got serious game, when things don't go your way, that's just, a mere hindrance for a moment. And that's what we saw with her, that it didn't go her way, but it's like, I can figure this out. And I was thinking that in the old days were the early part of this century, you could put together like I remember Farda Amiga, she won the Oaks, laid off, she won the Alabama, but it was still up for grabs as a 3-year-old in the Breeders' Cup. But nowadays, no one's going to put together a 4-race win streak.
Yeah.
They're not going to run 4 races between now and Breeders' Cup Day. So, in my opinion, it's over just because of the way the game is played now. You could win the Alabama, maybe the Belle Dame, and the Breeders' Cup, and you would probably have to beat her twice. So I say that's not happening. I think the door is closed.
I think she sewed up and it was interesting, Kenny McPeak in the winner's circle yesterday. Clearly, the Travers is a possibility. He said something to the effect of, we could go in the Alabama, but be 1-4. It's no fun for the bettors, and we won't really get anybody showing up. And he was kind of like, so, it's no fun for anybody, but the Travers. And so he's clearly thinking about it, and we'll see how it works out. There was a lot of buzz on social media yesterday. She's the best 3-year-old, period. So it would be fun, I think, to see her square off with the boys.
I'm not very vested in the buyers, except to use as a point of reference what you've showed me is. But did Dornock get a higher?
I didn't see.
I thought it was like 103 for Dornock, and I don't know what she received. But I'm guessing on both parts because I'm not heavily invested in them. What I do think would be interesting is their running styles to go at it.
Yeah.
I mean, that to me would be the interesting part, is to see somebody, because she has already displayed that she does not mind pace pressure. She will spit you out. I'm not so sure the reverse is true.
Yeah, I think you're right. From what we've seen so far,
and for
that would be very...
And for the naysayers of it, it'd be like, I did very well in Algebra 1 in high school, like as perfectly as you could do. It made no sense taking it the next year. You've moved on. It's like, I see no, what is there to gain in the Alabama?
Yeah, and
nothing.
Nothing except the purse, and another grade 1. But in the grand scheme of things, it becomes very interesting if she does square off, because that yesterday was phenomenal and is continuing what has been really a phenomenal for a horse they got for a reasonable amount of money. Certainly, Ken McPeak kind of known for that, and just. She was very good yesterday. And so, now it is going to be a case of seeing where Ken. I asked Ken to come on today, and he said, I kind of reserve Sunday mornings for the family. Good for him. And I also asked Brian Hernandez to come on today, and he said, I'm headed out of town. But both of them indicated, hey, maybe next Saturday morning, because Brian will be back in town. Ken said, hey, maybe Saturday we'll talk a little bit. And so hopefully next Saturday I'll grab them.
Now, I doubt it came up, but my thought is she only going to have one more race before the Breeders' Cup?
Well, I mean, there's the thing you've been on for quite a while. You said it really before. For me, it became a thing. But not only has it become a thing, it's emphasized now. So, you've said for a while now, at some point, it's going to be Saratoga to the Breeders' Cup. And that's kind of what it's become.
And you're thinking in that case, she gets an extra week between the Coaching Club American Oaks and the Travers versus the Alabama. And it shortens, unbelievable that we say this, in an era when horses used to come back on a week. And it shortens the gap to November 1st out of Del Mar.
Yeah.
I mean, it's because it seems to me, well, first off, even if they ran, it's only one race after Saratoga, but when would that race be? Like October 1st or something? I think these trainers with their better horses, like what you think, 6 weeks between races, 5, 7. There's like this number that they're more comfortable with than others. We will see. I mean, I think the purse is probably higher in the Travers also, so she'll be running for a higher purse, and we'll see.
All right, Torpedo Anna, a 95, Dornock a 103.
So that would say she would not be competitive against him. That's a big spread.
Yeah.
I would like my chances, because the way the race would be run, that 103 would not be comfortable. And that's why I like pace, and I'm not a hugely. I mean, do you think anybody thinks like he's 3 lengths better than her? Like, nobody thinks that. Yeah. So that's where the buyer speed figure and I don't have that much invested. I believe in the accuracy of them, even though, you hear Andy Sterling on Talking Horses talk very often about adjusting them. So I'm like, it's like the teletimer. If it's not right, just forget it. It really might be a 90, but it's an 80. Okay, well, then,
I don't think they adjust that often though. But
no, like internalizing, like when you see horses, I call it the Baby Yoda effect. It's just really not viable as an athlete that you never come close to repeating a performance like that. So you're like, I believe the athlete is more consistent than the number. I don't think he ever ran a 114.
Yeah, the rest of the career, that's fair.
Yeah, so you're like, and you might be like, he might not run a 104 that day. So it's like, what do you do? But if the idea is 103 versus 105,
95, yeah. We were questioning the Curlin winner with unmatched wisdom.
I was not questioning.
We were questioning what the buyer was.
99?
It was a 99.
Yeah, I heard that. 99. One quick. So I want to. Glad I brought it. So the thing, I guess you would say the knock. So Torpedo Anna regressed off the Acorn, her 99 there. Well, I'm okay with that. I would, if anybody wanted to lay me 3 lengths, I get Torpedo Anna plus three lengths against Door Knock, his 103. I would be comfortable with that.
Yeah, I'm a buyer's guy, but I say they were tool in the toolbox, and just visually yesterday, given the way that race played out, that was a very big performance. Certainly.
And I am not a big believer that they could have run faster or better. I mean, she was jogging in, but I just don't. I'm like,
I would also like to see what some of the other numbers were for both of them, and kind of compare time form numbers and some of the other number makers. I would love to see if there's a discrepancy there as compared to the buyers. That would be interesting also.
I mean, it's but it's interesting. And I would say one thing. I mean, it doesn't makes the Alabama would not be exciting.
Well, that's what Ken McPeak was saying. He's saying, I don't know who's going to show up, and we'll be 1-4. And he said he said that's going to be no fun for the bettors. And he said it's going to be no fun for anybody. And so that's when he said.
Now the other thing about those showing up, and I always said I'd like to go to the sales and be a heckler, but not a heckler like a pain, but to give it greater context. Whenever you have Philly stakes races, especially something like the Alabama, there are horses in there to run second and third for residual value as a broodmare. So they're going to show up, regardless, even though not that many showed up yesterday. And I was surprised I didn't get the cold exacta, but I've been very poor with those. And I actually thought about the middle of the backstretch. I thought Incinerate. I'm too much of a veteran to be counting my money, but I'm like, I'm going to pick up second easily. Nothing. Yeah. Just flattened down the lane, finished third. Gave me nothing. But that was it. So great day down at Monmouth Park.
Yeah, very nice
day up here.
Monmouth Park. Idiomatic. Wow. Had to work for the victory. But she got it done.
Many bullets in the holster.
Yeah, but she got it done. I mean, I will give her that because she was in the jackpot seat on the inside, but would not let the other one go by late. So that was a nice performance from Idiomatic. And up here, I will say the other stake up here, Pounce. Mark Cassie is on a roll. He had some
not as good a roll as Anthony Mormino is in the Lake George Superfecta. $800 back-to-back years.
Yeah, there you go.
It's I like Pounce. Yeah. I like Vilvine more, but those were my two. And you had to like the favorite, and then the German horse from the rail comes back. $79.
Yeah,
the wife did not echo. We won $79.
Yeah, she
did not. She's dialed in. She's dialed into.
Let me hit you with promos coming up. The main promo today is, of course, the $150 pick 3 bankroll. I'll be playing on behalf of the team. You still have time. Still have, about 3 hours. We'll close the entry form at about noontime today. You'll get alerted if you made the team. 10 folks will be randomly selected. I'll put the plays together. I like to look at the scratches before I put the plays together, but I'll put the plays together, and they'll be posted as well on the website. We'll probably tweet them out. But again, you still have a little time. If you want to enter, go to capelotv.com. Click on the promotions link. Look for that slate right there. Click on that, and there's an entry form available. So that's coming up. Top of the hour. Loose on the lead. Steve Bickey was down at Monmouth all week long leading into the Haskell, but back for Loose on the lead this week, and we will be joined by Bill Gallo and Patrick Lewis. Patrick, an owner on the jump side, but the AP Smithwick rescheduled for today. So glad to see that back in on a beautiful day up here. That's certainly going to go today. Wait. So we'll talk with them about that. We'll also be joined by Travis Stone. He'll come in. We'll talk a little bit about the announcing gig and whatnot. Great, much heralded call in the Kentucky Derby this year. So we'll hit on that with Travis. We'll also get some handicapping thoughts from Travis as well. And then Cherie DeVoe will be back in with Steve Bick, giving a fresh look at some of her. But she had the nice 2-year-old winner to kick off the day yesterday. So I'm going to have to get a little update because I didn't ask her when she was in the other day. Somebody came the afternoon and said, "Who were your guests? I missed you this morning." And I mentioned Cherie DeVoe, and they said well, did she give out any 2-year-olds? I said, you know what? We had so much conversation. I didn't get to that. I'll get to that today because we missed the winner in the opener. A nice looking winner at $28 too from Cherie, who again continues a very good meet. So all of that, top of the hour.
Yes, good day. I was just trying to think. I'm not a pick six player yesterday, but nice payoff for $8,000.
Yeah.
It was, I thought, because
you got a free square.
You got a free square. And I guess, this is where I'd be intrigued on the pick six is what the pick six would have been, with the favorite in the Lake George. That's what intrigues me about the data. You only get to see it in the last leg, but what it would have gone down to from 8,000.
I still think it probably would have been pretty good.
But I'd like to know.
In the six.
Because they know. They just don't want to tell us.
Yeah. But I think it's Brian Addo often says you pick five, you get one nice price in there and you get a decent payoff perhaps in the pick five. And so I think the more races you have, the more potential there is to get the payoffs to be okay.
Like, do you think it would have been half? I think it would have been half.
No, I don't.
Don't you think there'd be twice as many people had the favorite versus the $14 horse?
I don't know. That's a good question, I suppose.
Do you think there was a lot of singles with her?
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, that I do.
I think I'd be interested. I mean, just that. But Pat McKenna, tell me how many more tickets got eliminated when Pounce won the Lake George versus, what was she, 4 to 5 even money, something? There we go.
That is interesting. You mentioned before, Gulfstream does a nice job of putting up how many tickets are still alive, and that is kind of
because that gives you a real feel. Yeah. I mean, you could guesstimate how many. They had 200 live. They run the Lake George, and there's 40 live. You got to figure out of the 160, 80 of them, 40 of them had a single that lost. But I'd be interested to know. Are we doing the Depaula play of the day in our show? Or live with Steve?
We're being told right now.
Us. So it is that magical time of the morning for the Depaula play of the day.
It's time to think Depaula and drive for less. Pick your Chevy, pick your payment, and Depaula delivers. Or every Chevy, 0 down payment, 0 first payment, 0 security.
So come join the family and think Depaula for all your automotive needs.
Hey, everybody. Steve Bick back in town, back with you for the Depaula play of the day for Sunday. And we've been waiting patiently for New York breds long on the turf. We did have the 2 Stallion Series races this week, but this is more what we've been waiting for. The 8th and the 11th, these are allowances going 1 mile and a 16th on the grass. I'm going to favor the 8th race, because it feels to me like there's really 2 horses in here that are difficult to separate. Leo Powell, the West Coast trainer, who is very good. If you don't know his name, he's a going concern. He's got first time in forever, 2-1 with Pratt, the 7, the favorite, and very much the horse to beat. However, Jimmy Bond draws the rail with the improving Ronya, Roagna, with Javier Castellano. Don't know if there's enough pace, honestly, to set him up. He doesn't have a lot of early foot, and there's not a lot of pace to set him up, but he will save ground. And at 6-1, he's an ideal play of the day, the Depaula play of the day. Back with you on Wednesday. Good luck, everybody.
It's time to think Depaula and drive for less. Pick your Chevy, pick your payment, and Depaula delivers. Or every Chevy, 0 down payment, 0 first payment, 0 security.
So come join the family and think Depaula for all your automotive needs.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The opener today, rescheduled. The first Grade 1 jump meet of the week, the A.P. Smith.
I think it's virtually the same field, but they did redraw it.
They redrew it. I did notice that
I mean, the big, all the big, and there was 7 before, I'm pretty sure. So I think it's
7
virtually,
today, so it's all the same.
I think it's virtually the same, although the post positions have changed up
They
with the
did.
redraw. But I stuck right where I was on Wednesday when it was originally scheduled 5, 7, 4, and 2. I'm going to use Aban on top. Comes in with a 4-race win streak, 2 of them this year. Now, the 2 this year were against shorter fields. So you might question that, but I was watching a replay of that last race down at Nashville. Jockey is looking around as they come towards the wire. I think this horse is the real deal, and I think, we have a little more of a field in here today, and a nice little field, but I think he's legit. Now, L'Imperatore off of the win most recently down at Belmont at Aqueduct, the rescheduled Steinman, which was supposed to be run up here, but there was some bad weather that weekend, so they went down to Belmont, and that was a nice win. I think this horse is legit in here for Arch Kingsley, and then Ziggle Pops in the 3rd spot. It's Jack Fisher, one of the top jump trainers, a horse that I think legitimately has some talent. Ran 3rd in that Steinman last time, and I think could be a player in here as well. But I'm going to take a look at Aban on top, 5, 7, 4, and 2.
I wonder, do they clamor in the jumpers that there's too many graded stakes and there's too many grade 1s? 7, 6, 5. There seems to be a lot of grade 1s for the jump. It's not a big set, and there seems to be one a month. Like you get going.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm 7, 6, 5. I have. I do not trip handicap as my partner does, who shows much energy with the jumps. Trip handicapping. I like it. I like it. I'm 7, 6, 5. I have nothing yet.
I wasn't really looking at the trip. I noticed it was only 4 horses, so I wanted to see what how that played out. It wasn't so much the trip, just to see did he open up 20 early and then? But it was a legit race until the stretch, and as they say, then in the stretch he was kind of looking around for competition. Second race today, starter allowance. They will go 9 furlongs.
Kicking off the early pick 5, 4, 7, and 3 for me. I think Seth's going to do pick 3. And I know you say wait for scratches. I'm very intrigued by the card today. It seems. I had a very sharp day yesterday. I have positive thoughts like today. Bright Fairy is 6-1. I see not on your mix, but I think Tom Amos's runner is live in here. The Churchill Downs shipper just got beat at a 2L. And I've said this before, this is a big test into the starter allowance. Number 7, Graceful Rose. Mike Gorman sends out this runner. This horse has been successful on this circuit at this level. That means a lot to me. This is probably set the one level where, the easiest word to say is I think about class. It might be the only level where I think about class is these horses stepping into the starter allowance. If you're coming from certain areas, it's just hard to compete based on, looking at the data. And then Just Music, Linda Rice been on quite a roll. This horse won a couple races back, going 10 furlongs in 2 turns off the turf for 4, 7, 3 in the second.
Yeah, I have yours down the 4 spot, 7, 6, 1, and 4. Graceful Rose. I just looked at this field and nothing was absolutely jumping off unless you buy that last number from Enigmatic. But it's such an aberration. I wasn't quite sure. It was also against Maiden Claimers. So I put an Enigmatic in the 3rd spot. But again, if this horse can get back to what she fired last time, will be tough in here. But otherwise, I thought, I don't know. There's nothing jumping off. And so Irad Ortiz going very well. If you look 3 and 4 starts back, this horse ran very well when last seen at this level. So, there was a couple of things that just drew me in that direction. I do not have a big vote in here, a lot of confidence, but we'll get a little bit of a price maybe on a horse that I think is a contender, given those factors. Graceful Rose on top. Yo Puedo, if I came close to that, for Robbie Medina. In from Churchill for the former Shug assistant, off a couple of good second-place finishes. Now 3rd start back, I think could be primed for a very good effort. And then I did put Enigmatic in the 3rd spot off of that try last time. I have it 7, 6, 1, and 4. So
just looking at this, you had guests of the early double yesterday on back-to-back shows.
No, the show has been incredibly. Rob Falcone gets the win yesterday. It was within 24 hours that Cherie DeVoe got a victory. The America's Pastime guys were in here. They had a nice victory yesterday, but they had one on the day they were on the show. And then Kendrick.
26 hours.
Kendrick. Well,
it shows on at 11 o'clock.
Okay.
They run the race at 1:10, 12:30. So you're about 25 and a half hours. Okay. But
then Kendrick got a couple
the
of wins
overriding
today.
point,
He was
yes.
on the show.
The big point is, like, you want to be here for
Was,
multiple reasons.
Crazy.
There is energy. And, Seth isn't like the SI Jinx where they write the article after your baseball team goes 18-2. Seth has got to, hustle and get yeses from people and et cetera. So as you said about with Brian Hernandez and Ken McPeak, that next Saturday might work better than today.
Yeah.
On to the third, dashing 5.5 on the turf, Claimers 2L.
6'10", 2 and 5. Number 6 is Musical Maestro. Rudy Rodriguez, runner that I thought improved with the move to the grass. This was career start number 8. And it was a lifetime best buyer number. It was a near miss third place finish. It was against optional claimer starter allowance type, so a little bit better. Seemed to appreciate the turf. Gets a little class relief today in the second try on the turf. Rosario sticks. I think this one very live in here. Second spot, Devil in Disguise. The career debut effort was very good. The follow-up, maybe not so much. But given what we saw in the career debut, I'm going to draw a line through the last one. Just because, the career debut was very good. You break your maiden in the debut, and then you kind of, where do we go next? And they were ambitious enough to try a stakes race. So, again, I'm going to, look at that as they got into a salty spot. And so getting back to a more proper level is a little bit interesting in here. I'm a little bit concerned, however. I will readily admit that they won the career debut, maiden special, and they were ambitious enough and confident enough off of that to try the Paradise Creek. And now in the third start, they come back for a tag. So I have mixed signals on this one, but I'll put it in the second spot. And then Creesa makes that class move I talk about quite a bit. And again, I'll kick myself. At the morning line, I will have a little win place kind of on this horse or on this horse on top in some fashion. But that class move state bred allowance into an open claimer, open conditional claimer, to me has been very productive, and that's where we're going with Creesa. So as I say, off the last few, I couldn't quite pull it, but that's why you get a price on these kind, and you can on that class move. So again, I'll play around a little bit with that horse, but in the third, 6, 10, 2, and 5.
Do you think if you asked nicely without invoking the Freedom of Information Act, you could find out what it would have paid with oversubscribed winning?
I do not know. I mean, like you say,
Just
the numbers
them,
are
like,
there somewhere.
Oh, yeah, it's already done. So it'd just be like parsing, it's like, because I would be very intrigued because I think it's less than half. But I don't know. Maybe what was oversubscribed? 1/3 the price, 2-1 favorite. I don't know. 8, 11, 6, because like you said, it was the pick 5. That would make it the pick 4. You can spread.
Yeah.
Was the 8 even in your? I like I said, this card to me looks very intriguing, and the 8 is one of them. Okaloosa, who I think the comeback race where the waters I think were deeper, I'm okay with that. The fatigue at the end and the running worst position. Now I'm outside. I've already run well here on debut. I'm like, this is a 10-1 shot that I think is absolutely live. The 11 coming in from Gulfstream Park off of the synthetics, but on the turf sprint at Gulfstream Park on debut, scored, was the favorite, but didn't do it like the speed Poppy, controlled the race, settled in and won. Musical Maestro, the 6 for Rudy is my next pick. Ran very well at, I think, a tougher level. I love this race. So we have one horse in common. Okay, but I'm 8, 11, 6. And I have to tell you, I think all 3 of mine at very high prices are absolutely in the mix.
We'll do the dark horse play of the day.
Yes.
Dark horse play of the day today. We're going to go out to race number 9. I had a few different options. Cassie's just going so well. I thought I'll go with race number 9. Horse number 6, Salted. By Tap It. Okay with first-time starters this year. 25 first-time starters. 3 wins, 5 seconds, 3/3. And again, I realize this horse is a second-time starter, but those first-out numbers to me indicate win early type of breeding. What really attracted me was the fact that this horse, they paid over $750,000 for the horse. So there's some nice breeding. Tap It on top. The damn Salty, who was a nice runner herself. But in debut down at Churchill, right at the end of May, went off as the 93-cent to $1 favorite. So this horse took a lot of action in debut, showed some punch before fading just a little bit late. The number is a little bit light. I mean, you can't get excited really about the 44, but that this horse took that kind of action says there might have been some whispers. Now, it may have just been the folks who were looking and saw the, Cassie and the breeding and kind of tilted in that direction, the auction price. But I'm going to take another look at this horse. And again, that it took that kind of action. And as I say, the Damn Salty herself was a runner for Mark Cassie, had a great career, 11 starts, 4 wins, couple seconds, couple thirds. She was a graded stakes winner, subsequently sold with, broodmare prospects for $3 million in November 2018. So I'm intrigued, and I think we'll get a little bit of a price in here. It's 8-1 on the morning line from that 93-cent to $1 debut effort. So dark horse play of the day this afternoon, race number 9, horse number 6, Salted. Thanks to our friends at the Dark Horse Mercantile and Impressions of Saratoga, both on Broadway downtown, for their sponsorship of the Dark Horse play of the day.
Take a quick break. When we come back, more from the spa.
Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 102-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 102 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
It only takes one upset to make history, and now you can be part of Saratoga's long tradition at the Dark Horse Mercantile. The Dark Horse Mercantile offers a carefully curated selection of clothing, gifts, and home decor, from one-of-a-kind vintage racing memorabilia to select brands like Barber and Under Armour, as well as exclusive Dark Horse branded merchandise. So celebrate the Dark Horse in all of us at the Dark Horse Mercantile, downtown Saratoga, where the smart bet is always the Dark Horse. Welcome back to Handicappers Report on this Sunday morning as we wrap up week number 2. And really, the last 3 days, I think we've said every day, this is the best day so far. This is the best. Now we're the temperature. There's a little breeze. It's a quality. And
I like to say, run the races
Sunday.
now.
Yeah.
Del Mar yesterday, 74 degrees.
Yeah, so I think Larry Combs, somebody tweeted out the night before. Oh boy, it's going to be a steamy. It's going to be a steamy day at Del Mar tomorrow, and he showed the forecast. Yeah, it was like 76, and they're right in the wheelhouse.
For those who don't know, that part of the country has one of the most even-keeled temperatures you could find.
Fourth race this afternoon, maiden specials. They will go the marathonish 1.5 miles on the grass.
And I would say a temperature that many people find attractive.
Yeah,
Scottsdale has a very consistent temperature, but a lot of people don't find 110 to be attractive. I'm set. We got a couple of past 10th Street for Anthony Dutro, making the 8th career start. I like the marathon effort most recently. Kendrick Carmouche on a roll, gets to mount back here. Mission of Hope, the 3. Seth has the 3rd. Dylan Davis actually had one of the how I incorporated one of the best days. Not only a 4-bagger. And I think there's no favorites, $27, $13, $10, and $18. And he got the marathon runner home for yours truly in the finale. So Mission of Hope making the 3rd career start, first time on the turf. Candy Ride, Giants Causeway, good enough for me. And then Sunkissed Soiree, a first-time starter that I'm taking a flyer with Graham Motion. But 7-3-2, and I think a very fun maiden race.
I tried to get Dylan on today too, but Fridays and Sundays are tough for jockeys anyway because there's turf works, and turf works typically kick off at about 10
One of the few people at the racetrack that addresses me as Mr. Mormino. And I told his father he does not have to do that.
7, 4, 3, and 2 for me. Yeah, I like the 7 as well. Comes up, the mile and 3/8 last time. That was very good. Before that, a mile and a quarter on the dirt and off the turfer, but has proven a little bit of long-windedness with those. Kendrick Carmouche sticks on board. Jitterbug in the second spot for Christophe Clement. Mile and a quarter, 2 back, a mile and 3/8 last time. Same couple of races as the top pick, and was, right up there in the hunt. Lightly raced, maybe still some upside potential. Mission of Hope, also a Christophe Clement runner. This one hasn't tried the marathon distances and comes back off a couple of starts back at Gulfstream. I think third start and this stretch out make this horse a little bit interesting with the aforementioned Dylan Davis. And I agree, Sun-Kissed Soiree, a first-time starter going a mile and a half for Grand Motion. I found that intriguing. I have it down the 4th spot,
Right.
but 7, 4, 3, and 2.
I find it hard to, it's just such a tough ask.
Yeah, it's absolutely.
On to the 5th, one of the stakes races named after one of the great champion distaffers of just slightly before my time, the Shuvi.
I probably could have juggled this up in any order, but I wound up 3, 1, 4. I put Raging Sea on top. Nice win in the Double Dog Dare to kick off the season at Keeneland. Then was in the Ogden Phipps, Belmont Stakes weekend up here. Ran 4th, but runs 4th behind Randomized, Idiomatic, and Pretty Mischievous. So, some good company there. I'll put that one on top, but Shotgun Hottie for Cherie DeVoe, I think is very, very intriguing. Won the DuPont 2 back. The Fleur de Lis just missed. Comes in good form. And Misty Vale is a horse I liked throughout the winter season down at Oaklawn. And, a couple of times came through for me and then went over to Thistledown and went in the $250,000 stake and scored there. Now comes here, scratched yesterday at Monmouth for this spot. So she's intriguing to me as well, but I'm 3, 1, and 4.
You never paid up subscriber?
Yeah.
How many times do you think in graded stakes action somebody wins a route race by more than Secretariat won the Belmont?
Oh.
32 and a quarter, which in the notes that I have, which are old and long, that's the topper on a clear, fast racetrack to win by better than 32 lengths. 7 years ago, the Shuvi, I had her. 1, 3, 4. This is actually, I'll be interested if you have this in your mix. This is one of the less enticing races of the day for me. I think it's, all the 1, 3 here. You have it the reverse. Misty Vale did scratch out of the Molly picture yesterday, so Mike Maker taking a run here, I would believe, off of the victory. But to me, I just, it was as much, Seth, for me as a flip of the coin as I come about between the 1 and the 3. And I just honestly settled on the 1 because I might get a better price based on the buyers going to Raging Sea a little bit, but it won't be much disparity there. So 1, 3, 4 could be an intriguing horse race.
Yeah, that's what
gambling value. I'm not so sure. There are 7 other better races on the card for me.
6 races this afternoon. Conditional claimers, they will travel 3/4 of a mile.
3, 5, 2. Warrior Richard gets my topic. Apparently, Seth's also. To me, these, this is the reverse. This is coming out of a starter allowance, which I think are deeper waters. You come down, you look at some of the restricted races in here. This horse has been competitive. If you kind of like, I'm not saying red flare pen, but if you take a pencil and eliminate the starter allowance, you're figuring you're right there with IRAD coming back. When Love Takes Over for Ray Handel, who's having a solid meet. Kendrick Carmouche on a roll right now, comes out of a turf sprint at Jersey Shore. And then Joe Sharp from the rail taking blinkers off. They're saying first time gelded. This is the second start since November. We've talked about this many times before. May 27th race. Trainers have said 3 weeks, so that falls into the probability angle. But I like the 3 very much in here. 3, 5, 2.
I went 3, 8, 2, and 7. I like the 2 Dave Down courses, and between the 2, I tilted slightly towards Warrior Richard, Irad Ortiz on board. And yeah, I think class-wise is going to find this kind of within the comfort zone. Anthracite in the second spot hasn't been seen since back in April, but has been facing this type. And I think the races this horse tends to throw mix it up nicely with this particular bunch this afternoon. So, again, I have a Dave Donk exact in here. Brighter days ahead in the third spot, getting some class relief off of that seasonal debut. And as you alluded to, gets a few equipment changes, including blinkers off here today. And I wouldn't be surprised to see an improved effort from that one this afternoon. So 6th race for me, 3, 8, 2, and 7.
We'll take a quick break. When we come back, the late pick 5.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.
A day at the track isn't complete without a night at the Horseshoe. Great food, hot music, and cold drinks. So why go downtown when all the action's just across from the track? The Horseshoe Inn at the corner of Nelson and Gridley.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Race 7. We have the lid lifter of the babies going 8.5 furlongs on the turf yesterday. 2-year-old fillies today in the 7th.
Lid lifter's your new thing now.
What?
Lid lifter is your new thing.
Yes, it is. I like that.
It is.
I like that.
7th race this afternoon for me, 1, 5, 6, and 2. And I said when I gave the dark horse play of the day earlier,
We have 6 of the 10 covered in the main box.
I had a couple ideas, and this would have been one of them. Yesterday on top for me. Yesterday's 8-1 George Weaver first-time starter. A little bit of breeding here. The dam produced. The dam yesterday that was 7 for 9 with first-time starters.
7 for 10.
The horse. Yeah, 7 for 10. But the horse was out there making a great move early. I mean, look, was right in the thick of things, and then just gave it up in the stretch. So it was 7 for 10 exactly. But this one has a couple of nice siblings. Christology won the career debut, and then there was another sibling called Roses for Deborah. That name might be familiar, but
yes.
that horse won the first 4 starts of the career. I came under the wire in the first 4 starts. The career debut came under the wire first and was disqualified to second, but was first under the wire in the first 4 of the career. They were all on synthetic. Tries the turf today for this sibling. So I thought this horse was a little bit interesting with some win early breeding. Running away, Wesley Ward firster by Gun Runner. Dams produced 6 racing siblings. 2 of them won their debut. 2 others won in the second start. 1 won in the third start. So I thought those win early, top and bottom, and Wesley Ward can certainly have them ready. And in the third spot, Sharp Smile by Practical Joke, Brad Cox, first-time starter. So again, there's some breeding, there's some connections, there's some okay workouts. I have it 1, 5, 6, and 2.
2 from the rail, 10, 3. I just want to touch on Virgin Colada, my top pick for Chad Brown. What I really want to touch on is More Than Ready. And in my lifetime, Bold Ruler was before my lifetime. The game was different. It was mostly dirt racing, but he was an unbelievable stallion. Probably set records that'll never be broken. But in my lifetime, mostly Mr. Prospector, Seattle Slew, had a little, Seeking the Gold and Stormcat. Then you had kind of Tap It and Uncle Mo. Nobody has had the career at stud as More Than Ready. Seattle Slew was basically finished after about 15 years, and that's about what it is. More Than Ready has been a stallion for better than 20 years and is still unbelievably successful. Now, there does, 8.5 furlongs on the turf seems to be a home run. He's had some dirt runners. He won the King's Bishop on his own merits. But you take a close look at More Than Ready, boy. He is one of the great stallions of all time. And I like Virgin Colada from the hedge, the temporary rail to win. A first-time starter, Mark Casse sends out Ready to Battle. Be interested to see if you get that price on a Mark Casse runner now who's rolling very well, but 210.3.
I'm not big on mixed drinks, but it's like a Virgin Colada, like coconut juice, or
I don't know. I'm not big on any drinks, so it's like.
In the pina colada, some kind of coconut.
Well,
drink?
something you have. Well, I always presume it's rum. So those type of drinks.
So you would not have the rum,
so
but you'd have the coconut.
Maybe some pineapple. I don't know what goes in.
Oh, you're right. There may be some pina.
It might be.
Eighth race this afternoon, state bred allowance.
Obviously, neither of our fortes, which might be good.
Yeah,
if you're watching this show.
The eighth race this afternoon, state bred allowance non-winners are one, other than 8.5 furlongs on the grass.
Part of the seventh race intrigues me, but it's guesswork, and I'm happy with my guessing. But this is another race that I can sink my teeth into. Boxed Wine, speaking of knowing nothing about this venue of life, but 2-7-10, and Boxed Wine draws a good post position. I think we can get good position early with Kendrick, using a little energy, not much. We're not going to be anywhere near the front, but cycling into the fourth start, I'm very reliable here. This is one thing that I do like to use the Beyer speed figure for is I have an 8-1 shot, Seth. The Beyer par for this is 74, whatever that means. I can kind of guess with that. I feel very confident my horse can run that. So I'm like, I'm in it. I draw a good post position, and I'm looking at 8-1. I'm in. I'm in with Boxed Wine in here. For a second, I have First Time In Forever. Leo Powell, he's a Southern California guy. Leonard Powell. But this horse has been in New York for a while, and I like the most recent effort. Flavian Prat, been aboard. He's a major player. He's 2-1. You have him in your mix. And then Starts Now, who is a big price here. Now, just broke the maiden. This is a leap very large, which is why I only have Starts Now in third, and it's a big price because I'm asking multiple questions about her ability to run third. So you got to get a big price. But I like Boxed Wine, 2-7-10 for me.
Going out for the aforementioned earlier in the show, America's Pastime, who are on a little bit of a roll with a couple of winners over the last few days. I always like to root for them, locally based partnership. But I have a 3, 4, 7, and 1. I put Awesome Check on top, stepping out of stakes company that goes back to the last couple of starts of last year. And then the seasonal debut was in the Wild Applause back on June 22nd. Made an okay fourth. Now get back to the more proper non-winners of one, though. And I think with the class move, the Horacio De Paz runner will be very playable in here this afternoon. Lakeside Getaway, 10-1 on the morning line. I thought the Trombetta runner, also coming off a seasonal debut effort, would be very, very intriguing in here this afternoon. And then in the third spot, First Time In Forever, 2-1 on the morning line. I'm going to be interested to see how the odds shake out. In the last few races, this horse certainly belongs in the mix.
Better than that price? Because I
think that seems short to me.
Yes.
Yeah. The last few races are good. I don't think they stand out in this field, however. So it's going to be interesting to see how it shakes out. In the eighth, I have a 3, 4, 7,
allows me to like Boxed Wine even more. Take our final break. When we come back, the final pick 3.
For generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 102-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 102 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
The only thing better than watching the races is watching your own racehorse. With nearly 20 years experience in the racing industry, Bonaventure Stables' share-based ownership program enables everyday fans to become part owner of a thoroughbred for far less than you might think, with all the ownership perks at Saratoga, Belmont, Aqueduct, and other great tracks. Experience the thrill and lifestyle of owning your own thoroughbred racehorse. Learn more at bonaventurestables.com.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We talked about 2-year-olds going 6 furlongs on the dirt. We lifted the curtain on that yesterday. Now we have the fillies going 6 in race 9.
6, 4, 3, and 1. I also thought the 7, the Brad Cox first time starter was play at, so I wouldn't argue with anyone there either. But I put Dust Salted on top. Talked about that earlier. My dark horse play of the day. The Dam has some interest in that she had a very good career. For Mark Cassidy, different owners before Mark Cassidy, went on to be sold later as a broodmare prospect for $3 million back in November 2018. This one took a lot of action in debut after having attracted that $750,000 price at auction herself. I'm going to look at that price and think maybe there's some whispers, and this horse has the potential to move forward for Mark Cassidy, who's going very, very well. Double Cappuccino in the second spot. Todd Pletcher, second-time starter. Very similar to the top pick. The number, a little bit light maybe, but finished behind the talented complexion. You give a pass to that stakes race the other day for complexion. She was going bonkers before the race, and so I'm going to draw a line through that. I think that debut effort is more indicative, and so finishing behind that one, we'll see if this turns out to be perhaps some kind of key race. Black Dog in the third spot, Tommy Amos runner. Also second start, but clearly ran a better debut effort than the top two. So for me, 6, 4, 3, and 1.
7, 3, 6. And Seth mentioned he has the 7 down his fourth spot. A firster out of Nyquist, who has turned out to be a solid stallion. I mean, I know he won the Kentucky Derby. I think he was undefeated at that time in his life.
I think that's right.
And I think he lost his last 2 for Doug O'Neill and retired. And he's turned out to be, he's a son of Uncle Mo. So there you have it. So immersive. 5-1 on the morning line is my top pick. Solid works for this. And then I have Black Dog, who Seth mentioned, for Tom Amos, and Salted, Seth's top pick. Very attractive, 8-1 in here. So 7, 3, 6 in the 9th.
Race number 10 this afternoon. We're looking at allowance non-winners of 1 other than types going 9 furlongs.
And I think it also happened last year, but I love dirt route racing. Just as a sport, our Triple Crown, everything. I like it at Saratoga in front of the people. We seem to have carded, so not off the turfers, but the last couple of years, many 9 furlong races. And I was fearful of that when they built the Wilson chute. That would give, the game is shrunk in length. So I was fearful that we would have, so many mile races now for the trainers. But we've had enough. 6, 8, 5 here. You don't have the 6 in your mix at all, or is that famous 4th place?
It is
Rocketeer? Okay. Coming out of the Matt win for Brad Cox, an offspring of Curlin. I was saying off the air, Bob Baffert had a Curlin yesterday, debut at 5 furlongs. Just backhanded everybody. You have to think with a Curlin, how's it going to get better than yesterday? By the way, it was a fan. What a day at Del Mar yesterday. Just quick thing. Had about 7 winning favorites, 2 that paid more than $60 on the card yesterday. So basically something for everybody yesterday at Del Mar. But Bob Baffert had a Curlin that just. So Rocketeer is my top pick here. I think coming in, 4th career start, a solid player in here. Black Rain is 8-5 on the outside for Todd Pletcher. Second time versus winner. Second start since September. And then Brigade Commander, 6, 8, 5.
3, 8, 5, and 6 for me. Paddington on top. Third start back of the season. The debut effort was pretty good. Regressed slightly in the second start. I think is primed for a nice effort this afternoon. Black Rain, lately raced for Todd Pletcher. Clearly the one to beat. The seasonal debut was a nice looking second place finish with a solid number. If we get back to that again, that's the one to beat. And then Brigadier Commander in the third spot for Dallas Stewart. Comes in off some nice races. I think is going to contend.
Dallas Stewart's having a very good meet.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. And so I think, again, off of those races down in Kentucky most recently, comes up and I think plays with this bunch, 3, 8, 5, and 6.
State Breds in for 45, 2X, mile and an eighth on the Mellon Turf Course.
Do want to mention Dream Point going out for our friend Eddie F. Eddie F's Racing. Always like to root for the locals, so Dream Point rooting for that one. But I went 12, 10, 5, and 3. I'm concerned with the 12 post position at a mile and 16th on the grass.
But
I think this horse has
believe we have the same exact.
I think this horse has some legit, talent to mix it up in here. Gets a little class relief. Has been racing most recently for quite a while. Going back to about this time last year and a bunch of starts on the synthetic. Does have a couple of turf starts, though, that are pretty good. I think the horse is a player, but as I say, I'm concerned with the outside post position. Again, we have the same top two.
It was
Born Dancer also struggle. We'll have to struggle a little bit, or not struggle. We'll have to, work out the trip.
I think that's a good word for it.
These
jocks are in a tough,
mile and 16th on the turf. Those are tough post positions. And then Bar 14, also a player for me off the last race, which I thought was pretty good. Claimed out of that one, and I think is a player in here as well. Fun little way to wrap up the day. 12, 10, 5, and 3.
Good luck to you on your pick threes. I'm 12, 10, 7. I just, all I'm going to say is really about the scope of the race. One of the things it's almost, to me, Flavien Prat, who is one of the 5 top jockeys in America. This is I'm not going to get upset at practically anything that happens early in this race because it's almost an impossible situation that he doesn't get caught 4 wide into the first turn and then get parked wide. My point is, I don't envision he'll ever get a chance to tuck in. I mean, that's how hard this is. So he's going to have to overcome. He's going to need a break. He might need 2 breaks to come in. At no fault of the horse or the jockey, just when they drew the pills, you lose. You get the 12 and you got it. But, it's a big hill. And I've said this many times before, Seth, many, many times, this first time this year. The first 100 yards, to me, 95 times out of 100 are far more important than the final 100 yards. Everybody stands up when they come in the stretch. I get that. But from watching races and going forward, you watch this beginning. It's going to be right under our chins in front of us, etc. But I'm 12, 10, 7. But a very, if you become a trip handicapper or you're just a casual one, this is as tough as it gets. This was a major player here. And you look at his running style and you can't drop back. There's no options here for Flavien. I mean, no options that I see. This is where on the show you'd love to you want to hear Richard Migliori or Rajiv talk about it.
Yeah.
What goes through your mind? You have a major player, you see the running style. What are you thinking before the race?
And I think they're going to kind of allude to just what you said.
You need Lady Luck.
Yeah, exactly. You take what you get and then hope it works out.
And there's a far better chance. There's a big bushel of bad things that could happen and a really meat bushel of, there's a little hole.
As
I got in.
And a handicapper, you're looking for you look and they come from those outside post positions. And as they hit the first turn, if you're at the rail or 1 out, you're thinking, oh, beautiful. I mean, and that's just the way it broke. But
I'll put it to you this way.
A lot of times you're looking in there 3 or 4 out and you're not so happy.
Best case scenario would be he's in the 3 path.
Yeah.
That's as good as it could get, in my opinion. Yeah. But I'm excited about the race anyways.
All right, coming up top of the hour, Bill Gallo. I saw he was already here. We'll talk with Bill from the National Steeplechase Association about the jump race this afternoon. We'll also be joined a little bit later on by Travis Stone and Cherie DeVoe. So big loose on the lead coming up in just a couple minutes.
We can't get Travis on a roll because he's on a summer vacation. But everybody else that's on Racing Across America or Loose on the Lead is down the road. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a perfect day to be at the racetrack. I'll be here with my friends that I've had for over 40 years and our wives. It's one of my favorite days of the year. The weather is perfect. We'll see you back here Wednesday.
This has been the Handicappers Report, brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.